Okay, we're good. Everything's all set up. You've got your new camera.
You have your new camera and your new computer.
I'm loving it.
And your new sound system. And
it's all good, except I don't know. I'm looking a little washed out here. Looking a little pink on the camera. No, or does it look good? Looks a little pink. You look good.
I don't know what's with the lighting over there.
The lighting?
Yeah. It looks dark. It doesn't look pink.
But that's on your camera.
Why am I so clear? And
Suze, I don't know. Yours looks really good.
It does.
Mine looks dark on this camera. Okay, let's not worry about it right now. We're giving away stickers. We're giving away
Maglite and
Maglites,
a poster.
And we're giving away posters.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess what? It's 6 o'clock already.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I'm Gary Vmxq, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abadi.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Abadi, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful evening. I hope you had a nice time last 4th of July. We were off last Wednesday, but we are back live, and everything's going great here at Vmxq&A. Who? She's right here. She's staring at her phone. Susie, how's everything going, babe?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of prizes you got going tonight? Anything?
Well, we have that great poster.
Yeah.
For trivia.
Trivia, which you know the answer to, right?
I do know the answer to trivia. And then we have a Maglite, Tyler McGregor's favorite giveaway.
Yeah.
Courtesy of AMSOIL products.
Mhm.
And then we have stickers for what's it worth.
Yeah. So
Always a crowd favorite.
Yes, that's true. All right. So look, we still got some swag to give away, and that's all fine and well. And for you people, you know what? While I'm thinking about it, thank you, Carl Word. You've been supporting the show for quite some time, a little bit every month. It is so much appreciated, Carl Word, and the rest of you guys too.
Al
Roof bought a shirt today.
Yeah.
Carl Word, and
yeah.
there was somebody else who almost every time he watches the show, he makes a nice donation. Tom Ewing, thank you so much, all you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody else wants to get involved with the show, I'll put your name up there on the board.
Yeah.
$49.95. You get a shirt, which is like $24. Plus, you get another $50 worth of product from AMSOIL. Okay, so Russell Waters is in on a deal. We got a shirt there for you. $75 worth of stuff for just $49.95. And you get your name up on the board. We'll leave it up there for 90 days. Okay. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you are on YouTube. Share the show. Let your friends know that you're here enjoying the only show that brings you the history of motocross and some pretty good do-it-yourself tips as well. Vintage Motocross Q&A. It is time for the next time try this segment. We've got Roy on deck. Roy, what do we got?
Hello, everybody. This is Roy Vanderveur, and this week on Next Time Try This, we're going to talk about a true life experience in which I had to identify a thread size and pitch that I'm not real familiar with. You know, the metric stuff, real easy for me, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14s. And the pitch, whether it's 1.0, 125, 150, 175. But this tool that I recently got requires a different base to work with my lathe. And I had to figure out what size bolt that is. The good news is I had 4 choices: 9/16 18, 14 by 150, 1/2 inch by 13, 1/2 inch by 20. And those sizes are all pretty close to each other. So as soon as you throw anything in there with fractions or SAE, I start to get a little lost and frustrated. And I pulled a tool off the wall that I don't use frequently enough, but this was the perfect use for it. And that's the Fastenal thread pitch gauge. It identifies everything. So started with, well, is it a 14? No, that won't go on there. Okay.
Good.
Is it a ½ inch?
No, nothing.
Nope, that doesn't go on there either. So there it is. It's 9/16. And then to identify the thread pitch on the nut, we come down to the end posts here, and it will tell us if it goes onto the shoulder, it's a coarse thread. If it goes on all the way to the base, it's a fine thread. So there we got one identification here. We've got a second identification here, but then we need to know, well, what is the pitch exactly? And it's nice because I had a head start knowing that if it's a 9/16, that means it's got to be an 18. And put that on the 18 pitch, and that gets a real grip on the threads. If you try 20, it just kind of slides off, and the further away you go from it, the easier it slides off. Again, back on that 18, it grips just fine. So I know for a fact I've got a 9/16 18 bolt because I have to order a different adapter for the bottom of this. And nobody wants to have to order something and have it come in wrong. But in your race shop, especially given what these cost, which I see them as cheap on eBay as $6 for used ones. New ones are about 12. If you try hard, maybe you can spend 20 bucks. But you've got a ruler, you've got it. Most size bolts up to 1 inch. Most size metric up to 22 millimeters. You've got all your different thread pitches, coarse or fine. Got some extra information on the back here for the overachievers. And with that, the next time you need to identify a bolt, you can make sure to get the right part the first time. And with that, my friends, brings us to a conclusion on the Fastenal thread identifier tool. And in this immersive experience, we always love it when you comment as you see fit.
Mm-hmm. All right. Great video by Roy. I loved everything he did in that. And it's a lot of useful information. Has anyone seen Dave Arnold?
I'm Dave Arnold.
Anybody?
You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abadi. We'll be right back.
Classic and vintage dirt bikes are more than a hobby. It's not just about the ride. It's about the work that goes in. The work that keeps you connected to the ride. It's about bringing the bike back to life and doing it with your own hands. It's about the adrenaline and adventure. And when it comes to putting all the pieces together, only Vmxq knows the bikes and parts the way you do. Vmxq. Keep the ride going.
Vmxq.com now has Kawasaki KX 450 pistons for the 1974. They come in standard, first, second, and third overbore, $189.95. Did I thank my wonderful sponsors when we first came on tonight? I don't think I did. Racer X, International Motocross Museum, Motion Pro, Bultaco East, Sirius Studio, Vmxq, Full Circle Racing, Preston Petty. All right. It's that time again, boys and girls. It is the Moto Showcase brought to you by Preston Petty Products. And I have got a bike that I've had in the queue for a couple of weeks now. I was really looking forward to bringing it to you. And now is the time. Check this out. Chris Lucas sent this to us. And you know the Lucas family, when they build something, they build it right. And they build something always a little bit different and extremely cool. 1974 Husky CR125 Lightweight. The goal was to build the lightest, fastest, best braking and handling vintage Husky 125. The bike has vintage Husky frame and fork mods. It also has billet clamps, ProFab swing arm, work shock, small high point tank with custom paint, total motor rebuild with the long rod kit. What else you got going on here? We've got Nilsson porting by Woody at Action Cycles, a notched head, a drilled cylinder, and shaved cases. Carburation is by Sudco, a PFR pipe, and pegs with a PVL ignition. We installed a Husky 400 big brakes up front and the rear, a lightweight seat foam, sun rims with heavy-duty stainless steel spokes, and custom billet parts. The bike came in about 15 pounds less than stock, and this one will also be for sale at the Vmxq&A auction in Las Vegas come this January. That is one beautiful bike. Look at that. I want to thank the Lucas family for sending in another winner to us. And you see that tank? Nice and straight, isn't it? And shining at the back. That's a tank that I brought home from Australia 2 years ago. And I put it for sale. Chris Lucas bought it. It had a couple of little dents in it and whatnot. I straightened them out. You see it right there. Thank you, Chris Lucas, for sending in the bike, for the Lucas family, for always being there for us over the years with so much cool stuff, and for purchasing the tank. Keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you are on YouTube. And I want to thank, who else is here today? Jimmy Livingston, August Mozart, Augie, a long-time Facebook friend, Scott Gilbertson, Robert Floskog, Tyler McGregor, Bob Stiskovich, Kenneth Klaus, Jeff Hinkle, and there are 4 more that I can't see, but I bet you Brian Webley's there, and Robert Charles Lighties, and some of the other full-time supporters of the show.
Yep.
What's it worth? This is support that's brought to you by Full Circle Racing. This is also the part of the show where we ask you, the brilliant bikers at home, to guess how much you think this bike recently sold for. If you guess it without going over, you will get 2 beautiful stickers like this, compliments of Susie and Susie Creations. And believe me, that's not something you want to miss. So what do we got here? Something a little bit unusual. We got a 1976 Mako MC250 5 AW is what it says here. Just telling you what it says, all right? The bike recently sold, and it says here that it was equipped with an MC5 440 air-cooled, MC440/5. I'm guessing that's the 5-speed. Air-cooled 438cc single and 5-speed transmission. 2-stroke single, 5-speed transmission. It was said to have spent over 2 decades on display prior to the seller getting it in 2020. Pictures look pretty good on this bike. I like what I'm seeing. The bike wears an aluminum fuel tank and yellow number plates and fenders. It has features, it says yellow number plates and fenders. Okay. And it features a silver finished frame, a Kickstarter, a Mikuni carburetor, an expansion chamber. It's got a leading front axle on the fork. It's got dual rear shocks, and it has drum brakes as well. I like what I'm seeing as far as the fit and the finishes. I always love this ignition cover best on Makos of that era. I really like that. Anyway, what else do we have here? I think I showed you this picture, The identification tag affixed to the steering neck is stamped with a number 3260216, which is consistent with that of a 76 MC250 5 AW model. The silver finish partially obscures the frame stamp, though the seller states that it matches the number and the frame tag as well. Pretty cool looking tank there, huh? Is that like an Enduro aluminum tank? I mean, that thing looks pretty big. Some of you Mako guys out there who might be watching, including Paul Griffin, maybe you guys know what tank that is. Pretty big for a motocrosser. I like what I'm seeing here too. Underneath that frame, doesn't look all banged up and all pancaked out on those frame rails. The bike does not have a title or registration. It is being offered on a bill of sale only. I've showed you the pictures. It does not claim to be a restoration. It doesn't look like a restoration. Looks like one hell of a race bike, I'll tell you that. Nice and clean, straight rims. All the hardware is there. Love the moved up shocks. The shocks themselves, I don't know what those are, but they probably would have to be replaced for some serious racing. Got the Mikuni carbon there. All right, guys, put on your thinking caps. What do you think this bike recently sold for? 4,000? 45. 35? You tightwad, 35. Who would say 35? You watching them, Sue?
I am.
The bike recently sold for $5,000 plus a 10% buyer premium. So $5,500. Anybody that gets $5,500 or under is going to get yourself some stickers, compliments of Susie.
Looks
Anybody,
like
Sue?
Eddie Williams.
Eddie Williams?
Yeah.
This segment is brought to you by Full Circle Racing. Be sure to visit them online at fullcircleracing.com. Eddie Williams.
If there is, I'm seeing on the laptop other names that I'm not seeing on my phone. So if there's anybody else that got 5,500, please let me know, you guys, because you see it. I don't see it on my phone for some reason.
And on Susie's got the laptop camera going now, so which is nice. But you know, there's some kind of mixed messages going on there.
Yeah.
If it's Eddie Williams, fine. Get me your email, get me your mailing address, Ed, and I will get you 2 stickers. Compliments of Susie.
Yeah.
We are going to take a commercial break and hear from
I get asked often, what's the most important thing on Clunker? Answer simple, it's me. That's why I use Full Circle Racing wheels prepped by Tom McAllister. So should you. Watch this and learn why.
You see on the laptop, it says you have 51 on the phone, 27.
When racing vintage motocross where suspension is very limited, your wheels can be the difference between winning or serious injury. We chose to run Full Circle Racing wheels because of the super high quality materials and the heavy duty spokes used. Prepped by Tom McAllister, I have the confidence on the track to push way harder through the rough stuff and the bigger jumps, knowing my wheels are going to stay under me. Hey, Clunker may be 50 years old, but his wheels are brand new, and yours should be too. Call Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing today.
All right. The tally is in. Eddie Williams and Tom Schaefer.
Right.
Tom Schaefer, you are a winner tonight. Both of you guys are going to get stickers, compliments of Susie Creations, Vintage Motocross Q&A, just like it says on the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Send me your mailing address to my personal page. Message me there. I have, finally, after all these years, I have a email for Vintage Motocross Q&A. I've always had it. I never think about using it. It's Vmxq&A live at gmail.com. You're not going to remember it. Don't send me anything there right now. But on our next show and for every show in the future, that's what we're going to be using to be consistent with what we have here. Right, Susie?
Yes.
Vmxq&A live at gmail.com. And yeah, we'll go from there. Tom Schaefer. Longtime friend, big Mako guy too. Tommy, I'm glad you're here. And Ed Williams, both of you, send me your mailing address, and we'll get you a couple of stickers. You know what time it is now? Dun, dun, dun. Trivia. Trivia returns to Vintage Motocross Q&A. The lovely Susie is standing by with the prize that will be given. Susie, what is the prize for trivia tonight?
A post to this lovely poster.
Who gave us that poster? Do you know?
Racer X. Oh, these are from.
I'll take it from here, sir. Posters are supplied by Mike McCook at Motorcyclist Illustrated. Be sure to visit Motorcyclist Illustrated on Facebook. Look at that logo. Arr, look at that. All right. Now, guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of a head start. This is a call-in contest only. Try not to type the answer to the question in the comments, because if you do, then other people see it. It kind of
Well, they don't win if they type it.
You don't win. It kind of takes the
in.
steam out of the game. All right.
They have to call in.
So you got to call in.
Right.
925-784-2195. There's the number right there. One more time. 925-784-2195. Now, here comes the question. You ready, guys? They had a successful racing career on Hodakas and Yamahas. They went on to travel the world in the Evel Knievel stunt show. They are also a member of the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, and they were inducted into the AMA Hall of Fame. Who was it?
Who was it?
Who was that person? Successful racing career on a Hodaka and a Yamaha, traveled the world with Evel Knievel, legit racer, rider, I believe stunt person as well. Who was it? Call in 925-784-2195. The winner's going to get a beautiful poster just like this of Jammin' Jimmy Weinert, jamming Tony DeStefano. All right? It's a Charles Maury photo. Very, very popular, very famous. We've got a video coming up from, I love what he does for us here. Dave Boydston and AMS. Be sure to follow them on Facebook, okay? But Dave has been sending in great videos to us a while now. I think about 18 or 20 weeks, and just some really cool stuff. So let's see what Dave's got going on. And we'll be right back when somebody calls in with trivia. Dave, where are you, brother? Add to the stage. Oh,
another bike from the Brad Kennard collection. This is a TR6C. Unit constructed, Rickman.
I'm good. How are
with
you?
a 40 millimeter.
You're good.
Or whatever the measurement is
What's
they used,
that?
around 40 millimeter forks on it. Those were Rickman forks. Specially made adapter to capture the Yamaha brake that actually worked. Got sun rims on it.
No, it's not.
Rickman magnesium hub on the rear, works performance shocks. Avon glass, high pipes, beautiful primary cover. And it looks like they've removed a cylinder fin. Someone had some extra time, wanted to remove a cylinder fin. I understand this has 750 kit. We got aggressive foot pegs, custom brake pedal, lightened and drilled out engine mounts and chain guide. I don't know how much you're going to lighten a bike that weighs right about 300 pounds, but there you go. Originally nickel-plated frame on it. Looks in great shape.
Question was.
Sammy Miller Kickstarter on there. Trick Kickstarter falls in a little bit better. There's the sign of an aftermarket ignition system on it.
Nope. Sorry.
Boy, you know, I normally watch show and stuff, and by the way, I love it.
Thank you.
All right, that was it from Dave Boydston. Be sure to follow Dave on his Facebook page. I'm going to put that up one more time. Here it is. He's got AMS, of course. A lot of people.
It will.
We'll
keep on watching. You'll find out.
But follow Dave Boydston on his personal page.
Thanks, Pete. I will, Pete. Bye-bye.
Always puts up a lot of great content all day. And you know what I know that's coming up? There's two events coming up. One right away. One's in a couple of weeks. The AMA Vintage Motorcycle Days out in Mid-Ohio.
You got the answer?
Dave has already got bikes on the way, and he's going to be walking around Mid-Ohio with that camera. I would advise you follow Dave immediately on Facebook because he'll be bringing you a lot of great content from the Mid-Ohio swap meet. Also, the Las Vegas Mika Motorcycle Auction, he's there every year, has had a big presence there for the past 10 or 12 years. Dave Boydston supplying us with some really cool stuff here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Susie's inside, I guess, screening phone calls. We're going to get on with the show. Here's the Problem is brought to you by Motion Pro. Be sure to visit them online at motionpro.com.
Did you guess it?
What do we got? Tim DeHart.
No.
Hey, guys, I'm having a problem finding this rear sprocket for a 1974 Yamaha MX-175.
No.
My 74 YZ 125 has the same one. It's offset as the picture shows. Thanks in advance. Thanks, guys.
All right,
got
Pete.
one ordered from DC. Now, I don't know if that means DC Plastic or DC, the District of Columbia. I'm not so sure what that means, but he said he found one. I am familiar with the YZ125C sprocket. Here's a good shot of one right here. What I would like you all to be aware of are two things. In this picture, you see that there are nuts over studs holding that sprocket in place. In this picture right here, you have what looks like bolts going into the hub. Okay? If you cannot find the correct dished sprocket, which is either held in by these bolts or held in by the studs like this, what you're going to have to do is put a longer stud. If you only have a flat sprocket, you're going to have to put a longer stud, put some spacers behind it, and line it up with the countershaft sprocket to bring it out. I've had to do this. It works. If you find a disc sprocket, fine. If you don't, you could use a flat sprocket. In fact, One from a 77 YZ125 fits. I think 74 through 77, all the rear sprockets are the same pattern as far as the bolt goes. Susie is back in the illustrious studios. Do we have a winner?
No.
We still don't have a winner. Any guesses? Don't tell me the name, but do we have some guesses?
Oh, he's calling back 3 times.
Oh, he's got it now?
Pete Hansen.
Pete Hansen.
Yeah. Did you guess it?
Oh, wait.
No.
No, that's it.
Bye.
So we've had how many people calling? Like 6 or 7? And none of them guessed who it is.
Pete Hansen
But
called.
but you've
3
had
times.
like, yeah, and they're not getting it.
No.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if I should give this.
No,
I can't. I can't give a clue.
No.
I can't, because if I give one more clue,
They'll guess it.
yeah, you'll get it. And it's fun. Want me to read the question one more time?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
This person had a successful racing career on Hodakas and Yamahas. They went on to travel the world with the Evel Knievel Stunt Show. They are also in the AMA Hall of Fame. They are in the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. They worked in Hollywood as a stunt person. It's what I'm not saying, fellas, that should be giving you the answer to this, okay? Let's get on to the second question from our Here's the Problem segment. Don Zabalski Sr., supporter of the show, bought a shirt, got the AMSOIL stuff. What do they say? Did that, got the t-shirt? Zabalski does. What are the top 10 rarest motocross bikes in the 70s? The top 10 rarest motocross bikes in the 70s. Look, I'm going to let you guys hammer that out in some messages right here on the show. In my opinion, just off the top of my head, 1974 YZ360, only about 600 of those. I would call this a production bike. It is the Nobby Shop International. It was a kit. It did not come with an engine. It didn't come with forks either, but it was a bike, and there are very, very few of those around. The 1978-79 Kawasaki KX 125 and 250. 79, 125s pop up and 250s, 125 not too often. The 78 KX 125 and 250. I think the 250, there were only 1,600 made, with only 600 coming to America. Type in what you think is the rarest bike of the 1970s. I didn't even get into the 60s with the RH67 or some of the other really, really rare stuff like Litos and stuff like that.
How are
Question
you?
number 3. Oh, this is Al Roof. Al Roof has got something to say, and we're going to hear what Al has to say. How many of you other senior riders, nigh on 67 here, find it therapeutic to hang out and reminisce with other senior riders? If so, are you fortunate enough to have youngins to mentor?
Are you back in the States?
Some time around some campfires and some events that I've been to over the years. It is fun to hear some stories, some real stories.
All right, thanks.
One that comes to mind is one day I finally did catch Jimmy Weinert and Brad Lackey at the same time live, and I got the real story on the paddle tire. It was different when Jimmy Weinert told it than when Brad told it, and Weinert's mechanic at Kawasaki at that time, Roy, can't think of his last name. Seen him at quite a few events. Roy, you know who I'm talking about. He told the story even a different way. But there was a story about, before I had the 3 of them together, who brought the tire back.
Hi, did you have the answer?
Roy had a different story, and so did Jimmy. Anyway, sitting around with guys reminiscing about racing now.
Who do you think it is?
Pastime, and it's a great way to share history with guys that are younger than us about sport. Segment is brought to you by Motion Pro. Save up to 50%.
Take care.
Everything across the board except custom made products. When you check out, press MP9135. That's MP9135. When you check out at Motion Pro.
Good.
Thank you so much.
So good guess.
A sponsor years ago.
Thanks, Jerry.
Supporter through all that time, giving away great products from AMSOIL. Not only oil, but glass cleaner, gun cleaners, all sorts of wonderful things that comes out of AMSOIL. AMSOIL, the first synthetic since 1973. And if you want to buy stuff directly from Russell Waters, go to www.theoilpeople.shopamsoil.com. All right? Susie's still inside. She's still trying to work out, I guess, the winner of tonight's trivia contest. I don't know if I'm going to be able to give another hint. When she comes back in, if she doesn't have a winner, I'll come up with something. In the meantime, the International Motocross Museum, things are going pretty good right there. And I've got a wonderful video that you're going to really, really like with me and Terry Good sitting down, talking about shocks from the old short travel works Suzuki's. Check this out.
Yes.
Where are you, Terry? Add to the stage. Here we go. Terry Good, thank you for joining us for another segment of Works for Me. I understand, well, I more than understand. I have pictures in front of me of some shocks that you sent me. Very special things from Suzuki, short travel stuff. Where can we begin?
Well, begin with the first shock, and
Okay.
I'll explain that one.
You sent me this one first. Is this the one you're speaking of?
Yes.
Okay.
Now that shock right there was, it's all hand on a lathe, handmade. Everything inside is hand machined and whatnot. And it was this shock here would be on the 1970 to 1972. So
Okay,
3 years. Yes.
Okay.
And you can see they had dual springs, that was their way of getting progressive. So they had all that, and that shock, and each one of them has a serial number on it. The first number will most likely be the year it was made, a 0 or 1 or a 2, and those shocks are extremely light. Everything's aluminum, even the eyelet, the mounts and all that. So that's the first one. And that RN71, that picture, that's a bike that they went on.
Okay. In this third picture that we have, we do get a picture of the shock body without the springs on it, without the retainer. Obviously, it does look like it's aluminum.
Yep. It is. It's aluminum. And as you can see, those real lightweight Suzukis where they could really travel over the ground a lot faster than a heavy bike, and the unsprung weight and all that contributed to their magical handling at that time. They went faster over the same periods, same type of ground. And so they started making the shock bodies with more volume. You can see that one there will hold a lot more oil. And the
shock looks thicker too than anything I would expect at that period.
Yeah, and this one came out at around the end of 72. So the next picture, if you can go to there it is. So see how the spring is shortened, and there it is, that big body, and that came out in late 1972. So the factories, they had done the lightweight and all that, and they got the power pretty good. Now they're doing the suspension. They're focusing on that, and all these shocks that you're going to see in this little segment here are all going to be made by Kayaba or Suzuki that were in DeCoster's collection that I got from him.
All right, let's go on to the next picture. What are we looking at here? Big fins on the bottom.
Yeah, that shock, it's cast. It came out in late 72 again. They're still working, figuring things out. And the really neat feature, it has the larger body, the cooling fins on it, and you can see the little bolt back there where you could fill it, adjust the oil level in it. But look at the spring. See how the spring is wide at the bottom, and there, it's another. Yeah, there it is. So they
got one spring, Terry. That's one spring.
That's one spring, yeah. And they used them like that. That shock right there came from DeCoster's bike in the 73 U.S. Grand Prix at Carlsbad. So if you go to that next picture, it's not a great picture. It is a great picture, but it doesn't really see it there. You can see
Yeah, you can see the body in there, sure.
You can see the body and then that aluminum piece and the spring sets on that. It's hard to see the taper, but they were tapered. There's other pictures too, but
there's another picture here. I think this one's a little different, and it almost looks like the fins are like oblong. It doesn't look like it's round.
Yeah, the whole body was kind of cast and then machined. So,
you said that.
And those were reportedly magnesium. I can't confirm that though. But some of the shocks had those tapered springs like that, and then other ones they weren't tapered, and they'd have a single rate spring, you know, that was the same diameter all the way up, or they'd have the dual rate spring. And we have examples all. Now that shock. All right, go to the other picture, the picture subsequent to this one.
When he said Evel Knievel, I think
Subsequent. No, the other one. Go forward one more.
No, she.
You know, all these other guys.
One more, if you can.
It's just a body.
Okay, do I need to call back? Or
No, hold on.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Hold on.
But I just had
No,
a picture of that one.
Just hold
Go.
on.
No, that you're going backwards. Go forwards.
It would be the very first one.
Oh, really? You didn't get any of the
Subsequent
art?
means forward. I'm sorry. Hang on. You. All right. We were looking at this, and now
No.
this.
Okay. Let me just. We're wasting daylight here. Joe. Okay. So go back to that other picture of the. No. That one. Okay. So in 73 mid-season, first of all, Suzuki lost a lot of wind was taken out of their sails when the FIM raised the weight limit, and all that R&D and all that stuff they had, those expensive bikes and everything were banned, and they lost interest. Some interest in this in motocross, and they felt they were cheated, and I think they were actually. But so Mako and Yamaha during the season come out. You know, Yamaha has the monoshock for long travel, which doubled the 50% extra travel, and then the Mako moved their shocks up, right, and. So Suzuki, Roger started to fall behind and really started complaining that he couldn't keep up with, you know, the longer travel bikes. And so what Suzuki did, their first attempt, this is the factory now, his first attempt at addressing this and making, updating their bike, they made a special frame. I thought I sent you the picture. And Roger's sitting on it. There it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The shock that we were just looking at is the shock that's on that bike there. Now, if you'll look very carefully at the top shock mount, it goes up into the seat. See that?
I can see it. I hope the viewers at home can see it. I can see it.
Yeah. That what they did is they made longer shocks. And they made a frame that would accommodate those longer shocks and keep everything proportionate. And the first time and only time this was used was at Bilstein, Germany for the 1972 German Grand Prix. And that's Roger at the Grand Prix. And it was an absolute mud fest where he ended up, I mean, the goggles didn't probably last too much past the first turn. And he ended up going to the hospital, and a few riders did, with mud in their eyes. So it wasn't the greatest race to test that out at. But anyway, they abandoned that idea right away. And those shocks are from that bike. So it's an interesting part of history that nobody knows.
What do we have here, Terry?
Okay, this bike here, this one, then Roger and Sylvain Gabors with Mr. Lucien Tilkens took matters into their own hands, and they modified a frame and moved the shocks up like the Mako. and Mako was running Coney shocks. And so DeCoster, those are Coneys right there, but he actually machined shock bodies, those aluminum shock bodies. Roger's a pretty good machinist, and he did that. This isn't the first bike that they raced with it. We also have that one, but this is the one that he actually clinched the world championship with at St. Anthony's. And those are the aluminum.
This is the sand tank bike.
That's the sand tank bike. Yep.
Okay.
There it is.
Yep.
That's it. The springs are different now, but that's the bike, and we have that bike. An interesting thing about that bike, if you look at the airbox at number 31, right in the middle of number 31, you can see a distortion kind of like in the sticker, and what it actually is the vacuum formed plastic.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but it came out warped a little bit, and you can see that. And now if you look at this picture, you can look maybe 2/3 of the way up from the bottom of that number 1, and you can see that exact same distortion.
Yes, you can.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah.
It is very interesting, Terry. And these are only a few of the short travel shocks and frame configurations. There've been obviously so much more as the suspension grew and travel grew, and there was all those transition periods almost weekly. I can only imagine what, and you have, we've talked about this, you have hundreds of sets of shocks.
Hundreds of sets. I mean, we could do a bit, we can do the longer travel stuff, at another time, because that's just as interesting. And then Yamaha we have the Works thermal flows, the one, both versions of them. And, yes, the history of suspension in motocross, that exhibit in the IMM is just going to be where people are going to learn a lot, because it's a real fascinating,
I'm sure they will. Terry, we got to jump for now. I want to thank you for taking the time to explain to us about these shocks. You've taken us down a few roads in a journey that very few of us get to go on each week with our Works For Me segment. Terry, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Okay, Joe. Thanks.
Okay, we're back and we're live. On the phone, I believe we have a winner for the trivia contest. Who am I speaking to?
Pete Hansen. How you doing, Joe?
Pete Hansen. You had some time to look up some things. I guess it was a little tricky tonight, but I am going to read the question one more time. They had a successful racing career on Hodakas and Yamahas. They went on to travel the world in the Evel Knievel stunt show. Who was it, Pete Hansen?
Sue Fish.
Sue Fish is the correct answer. And there she is. Boy, she was something else. Sue Fish. And she really, really was a great lady, a champion, wonderful to be around even until this day. Pete Hansen, you give Susie your address and we'll get you, you got a poster coming. That's really cool.
I'll take it for sure.
All right, Pete, thanks for playing and we'll talk to you soon.
Joe, it's been great talking to you and Susie, and I love this show.
Okay. All right. The answer was Sue Fish. And, then we were on with Terry Good. And where are we right now? The International Motocross Museum. International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Be sure to visit them online at internationalmotocrossmuseum.org. And while we're at it, why don't we have a little commercial here regarding the International Motocross.
Hi, you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
We gotta pray, Rick. We gotta pray.
This prayer.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
NationalMotocrossMuseum.org. Thank you, Terry Good, for joining me on the show again this week. And we're going to be back again with more really great stuff from Terry Good. Did you know? I know you love this segment from Jeff Kokoski, the Did You Know segment. Always something very, very interesting happening here. And this week is no different. Did you know the oldest? Let me start again. Did you know who the oldest continuous motorcycle manufacturer in the world is? If you guessed Harley Davidson, you would be wrong. If you guessed Indian, you'd be wrong again. If you guessed BSA or Triumph, you'd be wrong again. They are none of those are the oldest manufacturer, continuous manufacturer in the world. The key here is the word continuous. All of those manufacturers started producing bikes and then motorcycles beginning at the 20th century, but due to financial difficulties, one way or the other, they all ceased production at one point, then restarted again years later. In some cases, multiple times. So the honor of nonstop continuous production goes to these guys right here, Royal Enfield. Pretty incredible, isn't it? I love workshops like that where they have those pulleys on top and it operates the whole shop. They've been manufacturing motorcycles since, in one way or another, in Great Britain and now in India continuously since 1901, almost 125 years. Our story begins in 1851 when Englishman George Townsend established a business in Redditch, England, specializing in manufacturing of sewing machines and needles. In 1882, his son, also named George, started making components for bicycles and different manufacturers. And by 1886, complete bicycles were being produced under the name Townsend and Ecosay. Unfortunately, by 1891, the business suffered a financial collapse and was taken over by salesman Albert Eady and the bicycle engineer Robert Walker Smith. The following year, the firm was reincorporated as Eady Manufacturing Company Limited. Because of their precision production capabilities, in 1893, Eady won contracts to supply parts for firearms to the British government's Royal Small Arms Factory in the village of Enfield in Middlesex County, just north of London. And I think that's what, I think that's the factory right there. Now, to celebrate the prestigious order, they renamed the company the Enfield Manufacturing Company, and the bicycle division was called, or their first bicycle was called Enfield. And this is one of the first motorcycles produced. This is the factory. Anyway, because of the ties to the British government arms manufacturer, the following year, the bicycles were renamed Royal Enfield, and they used the trademark made like a gun. Oh, I saw this a little bit earlier. I thought it said made like a sun when I first looked at it. Made like a gun. Come on, Joe. Eventually, the bikes would transition to more traditional frame-mounted engines. And by the start of World War I, Royal Enfields were being produced from British, Belgium, French, American, and Imperial Russian armies. Very interesting, Jeff. At that time, they even produced a sidecar version that could be used as a field ambulance with a machine gun platform. We have that here. Yeah, here it is. This would be good. This would be good in Compton, maybe Philadelphia, Camden. This is a bike. Yeah, Camden, New Jersey. This is what you need right here. But I digress. In 1932, Royal Enfield will begin producing the most iconic motorcycle as a tribute to their arms manufacturing roots. They dubbed it the Royal Enfield Bullet. Is that this one? I think it is. Anyway, at the time, the Bullet was a revolutionary motorcycle sporting an incline sloper engine, high compression, twin port cylinder heads, and a foot operated gear shift. Huh. Really cool stuff. I just want to go back to this picture one more time. I love it. All right. There were three versions that were produced of the 250, 350, and 500cc versions of the Bullet. The Bullet remains in production to this day, and just like Royal Enfield holding the record for the longest continuous motorcycle manufacturer on the planet, the Bullet is the longest continuous motorcycle design in history. 1948 ISDT bike. Very cool. After World War, the 350 Bullet design was modified to include a swing arm, rear suspension supported by twin oil-dampened shocks. It was the first British motorcycle to have rear suspension. Although not only designed as an off-road bike, the twin-shock Bullet also favored the off-road enthusiast, and two Bullets were part of the Britain's international trophy team, which had gold medals in the 1948 International Six-Day Trials held in Italy. Madonna, how about that? But it would be the end, and after India, where it gained its independence from Great Britain in 1947, the Royal Enfield would begin a relationship with the people of India that helped spark the global expansion of the brand. It had an explosion. It started to sell all over the world. And the next time, and we're going to come back again with more of this because it's really, really great. And the story's a little involved, but I love reading about it. But when we come back next time, we'll talk about the relationship, how it grew over the years, and it even grows more until this day. Jeff Kokoski. Great stuff. Great stuff, Jeff. Thank you again for another just spectacular Did You Know segment. You know what time it is now? Go ahead, say it. Say it. BRAP! Everybody loves to say BRAP, right? BRAP Suspension, a great supporter of the show. Roger Neff. Be sure to visit them on Instagram. And Roger has a really great little video for us right here. And wait till you see the shirt he's wearing tonight.
Hey, BRAPers, how you guys doing? Roger in the BRAP shop. Gonna make us a nice segment for Joe Abate's Vintage Motocross Q&A. We got our t-shirt on. Let's get going here. We've got a fun little segment today. Today we're going to be talking about Öhlins suspension. Here we have is a 46 millimeter Öhlins fork. This is an open chamber fork. They're on a older Yamaha YZ. What is this? YZ 426, I believe. These forks were common on the old Cannondale motorcycles. As they're building those, this fork was used on there. But it came in for a service, fork seals are leaking, and I sent my email with some part numbers to my buddy Jerry at Öhlins USA, and he came back, he told me £1 sand. He didn't have seals, dust seals, or bushings. He's like, I got nothing for you, bud, I can't help you. So I was pretty bummed about that. It's sad to see a manufacturer not support their products with seals and bushings. And the bushings are odd. This baby here is 24 millimeters tall. Nobody else that I can find with this outer bushing is using one that's 24 millimeters tall. So I searched all over the internet, searched eBay, and could not find anything even remotely close. Right? Seals, same way. Seals, I got some dimensions off the oil seal, and those I was able to cross reference over to a KYB 46 millimeter seal. So called up my friends at Intech USA and got a set of 46 millimeter KYB seals. So that was cool. We got seals. So if you have this old Öhlins fork, KYB 46 millimeter seals, it's a little shorter, it's a little thinner. The seal is so there's a little gap in between the seal and the seal retaining clip, but I was okay with that. Seal's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to come out. So we got seals covered, but I needed bushings, and KYB 46 millimeter guide bushing, perfect match, worked good. So okay, I got this bushing, I was happy, but I still cannot find a 24 millimeter tall bushing. And this one here, you can see in here, it's pretty scratched up, you know, so I was really wanting to replace this. So while I sat here and pondered, I was like, hey, KYB 46 millimeter outer bushings are 12 millimeter tall. So I'm going to use two bushings, KYB 46 millimeter bushings in the place of this one that Öhlins used. So these are 12 millimeters tall. This is 24. So two of these is going to match. it's going to work. And I've already got one fork assembled. Boom, we've got function. It's going to be just fine. Maybe a little more friction, I don't know, but we have good guide bushings and good bushings. Now, something that's common when I was popping this fork apart, because there's one of these bushings, you have this aluminum spacer, right? There's one of these at the end of them. If you guys remember the old WP triple bushing fork, had that big long aluminum tube with a bushing at the top of it. Not a super ideal design, but hey, it's what we got. A lot of things that happen when you're banging these apart is this backup ring that goes under the oil seal, is it gets kind of dished. So let me show you how to fix that. I'm gonna get my hammer here, right? My part tool hammer. I just got this. I kind of like this. It has a steel face and a soft face. I use both of them a lot, so I wanted a double face hammer. I'm just gonna take this on my vise here on this flat surface, and we're just gonna hammer this guy flat. Right? This is not perfect. I'm not going to find this backup ring here anywhere. So this happens quite often when those get kind of dished as you hammer these apart. What will help that is if you warm up the tube a little bit. Be careful when doing that so you don't mess up the anodizing. But if you warm this tube up a little bit, they come out a little bit easier. Something happened that when I was doing this, because it's machined out inside quite a ways to make room for this aluminum spacer and these big old bushings. What happened was when I was taking it apart, the guide bushing on the end of the chrome tube here popped off, which left one of these big 24 millimeter bushings stuck inside the tube. That was stuck in here, right? And I think that's how that one got all boogered up, is somebody was trying to get that out. So all I did is I heated up, warmed up this lower part of the tube. I popped it once on my disassembly bench, and the bushing fell right out. I didn't have to work very hard to get that out. So if you get a bushing stuck in here, warm up the tube and let it release that bushing. Way better than trying to dig it out with screwdrivers or pliers or anything like that. So I think we've got a solution. Let's assemble this real quick. I've got my bullet tool in here. I love using bullet tools for assembling forks. We're gonna get a little lube. I've got a fork lube, fork oil in this guy here. Just a little oil on this nice SKF green single lip seal with that guy on. Look at this snap ring. This is one of the funkiest seal snap rings I've seen. It's kind of a funky little guy, but hey, I guess it works. I got enough oil on my finger here. I just want a little coating on this seal. I don't want it really drenched. Throw that guy on there. Here's that backup ring we just fixed. Get rid of the seal bullet tool. Let's see. First thing first, we're gonna put on 2 bushings. 2 of these KYB 46 millimeter. We're gonna put the little guide, little spacer on here. I guess it's not a guide, it's a spacer. And then 2 more bushings, right? And then our last one. So we've got everything on here that we need. Oop, that's not my tube, that's the other fork. Grab this guy here, we got our fork tube. Now this is a little hard because it's machined out on the inside here. It takes a little bit to get this fork tube past that machined edge. We got it, no problem. Slide these guys in. Get our seal driver. Just gonna drive the seal and the bushing and everything in there. Boom. That's driven in. It's nice. Throw our circlip in here. Little screwdriver. Push that in. Make sure it's snapped in the groove. I heard the snap. Boom, we're good. Now to get the dust seal in here, I could push it in, or I could just slam that down there and the dust seal's in there. So, you know, I was at a stumbling point where I was not able to find parts, but there's a little bit of thought and a little bit of measuring, knowing what's available out there really helps. So, you know, taking your stuff to an experience. while. You know, this is an enthusiast bike. I don't know how many hours a year he's going to ride it, but at least there's a path forward. So if you got these old Öhlins 46 millimeter forks, Öhlins is always nice stuff. You know, it's just a simple open cartridge fork, nothing this Yamaha and get it going. But it's nice to see a path forward. I'm going to send an email to my buddy Jerry at Öhlins USA. Say, Jerry, here's how I fix this. So if he gets somebody else coming at him with these forks, he can send him down a path that's proven. You know, it's always scary to use different parts in your stuff, but when somebody's done it and proved it, it's a little more easy to do that. So you guys keep it brappy. Enjoy the rest of Joe's show. I think it was one of my longest segments, and we're at 9 minutes now. So keep it brappy, folks. We're going to wrap up these forks and get a phone call to the customer and tell them to come get their stuff and go ride their dirt bike.
Yeah, it was a little long, Roger, but you know what? It was really, really good information. Be sure to visit Roger Neth and Brap Suspension. They are very, very active on Instagram, and they do a lot of cool stuff for us here too. You know, on that Did You Know segment, I forgot to mention something. That segment is sponsored by Bultaco East. Thank you, Steve Brandis. Be sure to visit them online at bultacoeast.com. And remember, it's not just Bultaco parts. Steve really had the wherewithal and the wisdom to go out and really buy up some great inventories from NGK and Magura and many, many others. There's a lot of great stuff there for your Spanish bikes, not just Bultacos. Susie says that she has a viewer appreciation winner. You do, huh, Suze?
We do.
Who is it?
Rich Eggers.
Who?
Rich Eggers.
Rich Eggers.
E-G-G-E-R-S. Rich Eggers. Yeah.
Rich Eggers. You are tonight's viewer appreciation winner. Mm-hmm. Go over to my personal page, and this is the last time anybody's going to have to do that because I will post the new Vintage Motocross Q&A email directly on the show next week. Rich Eggers. Send me your mailing address over on my personal page, Joe Body, and you have won yourself a Maglite, a telescopic magnetic Maglite, compliments of Russell Waters and Amsoil. Okay? All right. What do we got going on now? This week in motocross history. Brought to you by Racer X. Be sure to visit them online at racerx.com. It was 1970. Oh, you know what? I better do this in order. Why don't I do that? That would be good, right? 1972, arguably one of the most important races in history of the sport, took place for the first time. The game-changing Super Bowl of motocross at the Los Angeles Coliseum. Southern California rock and roll race promoter Mike Goodwin, possibly working off some ideas he saw in Italy or at Madison Square Garden, where they had some indoor TTs, came up with an idea to bring motocross under the lights. He invited all the young U.S. riders to visit, along with some Europeans. He had some Inter-Am series going there for a while, including Swedish stars like Torsten Holman, Arne Kring, and Torleif Hansen. A reported 27,000 people showed up for that race. It was called the Yamaha Super Series Cup, and the winner was a shocker. Yamaha's Marty Tripes, just 16 years old, 10 days, and 16 years, 10 days old, hailing from Santee, California. It was a three-race format. Marty finished 2-2-2, giving him the overall and a place in the record books at just 16 years old. 1977, Jimmy Weiner, he was the winner at the 1977 Coca-Cola Super Bowl of motocross in Los Angeles Coliseum. The Kawasaki rider was followed home by Team Honda's Marty Smith, Mako rider Steve Stackable, Yamaha's Mike Bella was only riding his second AMA Supercross at that time, and Suzuki's Danny Laporte. Interesting history there. Good friend of mine and a great guy. The year is 2000. At the 125cc Grand Prix of Austria, Red Bull's KTM's Grant Langston went 1-1, topping the 4-2 of U.S. rider Mike Brown and the 3-5 of British rider Jamie Dobb. And there it is. That's what happened in motocross history, 77, 72, and 2000. We've got some announcements coming up for you tonight. First announcement I have is, why don't you ask me about those sponsorship opportunities, guys? Got lower rates for 2025. Got it. Something for everyone's budget. Believe me, I'll get you up there and you'll reach about 1.5 million people every 90 days. It's getting close. The AMA Vintage Motorcycle Days that happens the weekend of the 25th, 26th, and 27th. Now, I cannot believe that Vintage Motorcycle Days came up with a flyer like this, said it was sponsored by Permco, presented by Turn 14. And what's missing on this flyer? The date. Good job, guys. Who will be your Grand Marshal at that event? 1982 World Champion Brad Lackey. He will be there as Grand Marshal. I understand they have him hopping around from event to event all weekend long in a golf course, in a golf cart. And I think he's going to have his works bike there that weekend too. So get a picture of Brad, the famous bike from 1982. That is at Vintage Motorcycle Days in Pickerington, Ohio. Hey guys, I've been busy here at Vintage Motocross Q&A, bringing you information, bringing you stories, bringing you shows every day. Not just our live show at 6 o'clock on Wednesdays. I bring you a little show every morning at 8:55 called Today's Moto Minute. After that, I show you how to fix tanks for an hour on Tank Bangers. One day this week, I went an hour and a half. All right, you see all my inside secrets on Tank Bangers live every day at 9. That happens on Facebook. It happens here on Facebook, Instagram, and on my personal page and on the Vintage Motocross Q&A page. Also, every day at noon, although it's recorded, we have Next Time Try This. These are all Pacific Standard Time, and it's all Monday through Friday. I've been doing this show for 5 years. Between the Vintage Motocross Q&A show, the Next Time Try This segments, the Did You Know, forget about fixing gas tanks, and the new Moto Minute. I've got over 450 shows between interviews, Next Time Try This, and this show every year. All right? 450. It's about time I started sharing them with you free of charge all over Facebook, all over Instagram, on 3 different pages. You're going to see a lot of cool stuff, and it happens every day, 8:55, 9, and 12. I've got interviews lined up too, including one from Sue Fish, Debbie Matthews, Garrett Wolfsink, Steve Stackable, Steve Wise. I've got them all, and I'm going to make a list with the dates. We did some last week that included Steve Simons, my dear friend Jim Hawley, and I think we had Tim Buck on too. I got a lot of interviews and a lot of shows. They're going to be coming on every single day. There's only one show that celebrates the rich history of vintage motocross, and that's Vintage Motocross Q&A. So whoever gets started now, you got a long way to go to catch up to the laps that I have put in. That is a wrap for tonight's show. Susie, I'm going to put you back on one more time because you are just so beautiful.
Don't forget to order your t-shirts.
Oh, yeah, you got to order t-shirts too, guys. You know?
Please get ready for winter. Aprons, hats.
Yeah, aprons, hats, hoodies, shirts like this. They come in black, yellow, gray, and any color you want. Okay? Where's the dog, Sue?
All right.
Gina!
Come on, Jane.
Come on. Come on, Gene. Okay. Okay. Hang on, Gene.
Hand bone.
Oh, my God. Look in the camera where people can see. Want to show them how vicious you are? That's it for Vintage Motocross Q&A. Thank you for joining me tonight. Join us tomorrow 3 times a day and every weekday. Okay? See you next time.
Good night, everybody.